Moira everything. Since being diagnosed with cancer, Emmerdale regular Cain Dingle has insisted on keeping the illness a secret, allowing only a small number of people to know. Holding everything inside has made him increasingly angry, and Sarah Sugden recently confronted him with a clear choice. He must tell Moira, or she will do it herself. In scenes that will air next week, Cain eventually gathers the strength to tell his wife the truth. During Monday's episode, Cain visits Moira in prison and explains what is really happening with his health. He admits that the cancer he previously told her not to worry about is actually far more serious than she believed. When she hears the truth, her world is completely shaken. The moment becomes the longest scene the couple has shared on screen, lasting 12.5 minutes. The actor who portrays Cain previously mentioned that he hopes viewers stay engaged with the moment because it plays a very significant role in the storyline. Meanwhile, another storyline unfolds in Wednesday's episode when Graham Foster shares a quiet moment with his former partner, Rhona. He reveals that he found out about Cain's illness some time ago and explains that his help in Cain's conflict with Joe Tate has been given out of respect. Rhona expresses gratitude on behalf of the family and tells him that the rest of the Dingle relatives are unlikely to recognize what he has done for them. Their interaction does not end there, as the two meet again later in the week to reflect on their past relationship and consider whether there might be a possibility of rekindling it. Next week's episodes bring an emotional storyline as Cain finally confides in his wife about his serious cancer diagnosis. Not long after this revelation, Graham also makes a surprising confession. Powerful scenes unfold when Cain eventually decides to tell the truth about his illness. Because Moira has been in prison for a double murder she insists she did not commit, he kept his condition hidden from her. Most of the family have also been unaware of the situation. Only his granddaughter Sarah knew about the diagnosis, along with Liam and Graham. However, that secrecy will soon come to an end. Once Moira discovers the truth, she encourages Cain to stop hiding it and be open with their sons and the rest of the family about what he is going through. In a preview moment, Cain finally admits the reality of his condition and reveals that he has cancer. He also acknowledges that he previously minimized how serious it was, explaining that the illness is actually much more severe than everyone believed. Moira is shocked as she hears the full truth, especially since she had been led to think that his health problem was not life-threatening. As Cain shares the painful news and Moira tries to absorb it, the scene fades out. Despite struggling with the shock, Moira does her best to support him. Knowing she cannot be there with him because of her situation, she urges him to tell their sons and other relatives the full story. The news eventually reaches Rhona as well. Rhona is then surprised when Graham reveals that he had known about the diagnosis long before the rest of the family. He explains that he kept quiet because Cain wanted the matter kept private, but admits that this knowledge also influenced how he handled Cain's conflict with Joe. Although Graham had publicly shown loyalty to Joe, he secretly helped Cain when he took Joe's car and even covered for him. He has also assisted with tasks on the farm and given advice, actions that Joe has not appreciated. Cain later recognized and valued that help, while Rhona questions why Graham would support him given the hostility between their families. Graham replies that he did it out of respect, and Rhona expresses gratitude, adding that the rest, being jailed for a crime you didn't commit, would be devastating for anyone, but things can feel even worse when chaos is unfolding outside and you have no idea about it. That is exactly the situation Moira Dingle finds herself in, as Cain has kept her completely unaware of everything happening back home. Moira does not know that Cain has been diagnosed with cancer. She has no idea that Joe Tate is determined to take control of their farm at any cost. She is also unaware that Cain and Sarah Sugden have resorted to stealing cars in an attempt to pay off mounting bills. Even more shocking, she does not realize that Joe is the real reason she ended up in prison. He framed her as being involved in people trafficking, so that when bodies were discovered on her land, the evidence appeared strong enough for the police to arrest her. Joe is desperate to gain control of the farm and believes he is getting closer to achieving his goal. With Moira locked up, Cain has been left to run the farm alone while also trying to fend off Joe's schemes. At the same time, he is secretly battling prostate cancer, something he has struggled to cope with, alongside the growing pressure around him. After a series of problems on the farm and another frightening health scare, Sarah finally convinces Cain that he cannot keep the truth hidden any longer. Cain goes to visit Moira in prison and admits everything. He tells her about the situation with the farm, his illness, and the stress he has been dealing with. Moira is shocked and upset that he tried to face all of this by himself. However, she quickly focuses on what matters most, insisting that Cain's health should come before the future of the farm. The meeting between the two women could have huge consequences. What they decide may determine the future of the farm, as well as the future of the Dingle family. Kim arrives at the prison to speak with Moira, unsure exactly why she has been summoned, but sensing that the conversation could lead to an important decision. The big question is whether she will give Joe what he wants in order to save her family from further hardship. Emmerdale has revealed just how far Joe Tate is willing to go in his plan to force Cain Dingle into selling the remaining half of Butler's farm while Moira is still in prison. The ITV soap previously showed Joe pressuring Robert and Victoria Sugden into selling their shares, and he has continued targeting Cain ever since. Meanwhile, struggling financially, Cain recently joined forces with his granddaughter Sarah to steal cars. Sarah is currently the only member of Cain's family who knows about his prostate cancer diagnosis, while Moira remains completely unaware of his condition. In the latest scenes aired on the 5th of March, Joe set up a trap after suspecting that Cain had been responsible for stealing one of his earlier cars. Joe deliberately showed off his brand new vehicle, parking it outside the garage before heading into the Woolpack for a drink. At the same time, Cain was worried after Gabby Thomas cancelled her beef order from Butler's farm following Joe's suggestion. Feeling the pressure, Cain considered stealing another car to raise money, this time targeting Joe's new one. Following Cain's instructions, Cami Hadik went into the pub and created a distraction by knocking over Joe's drink. As the pair argued about the accident, Cain slipped in, grabbed Joe's keys, and drove off with the car. He quickly managed to sell the stolen vehicle. However, when Cain returned to the garage, Joe appeared moments later, looking extremely pleased with himself. Joe calmly responded that the situation might have changed, pointing again to the video evidence on his phone. Emmerdale airs on weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.